So when I was 15, 16, I had a condition, a mental health condition called body dysmorphia, specifically a subset of that called muscle dysmorphia, and now I'm going to burp. The reason I'm talking about muscle dysmorphia and body dysmorphia is that I don't think that a lot of men, young men, discuss their mental health, and there is a lot of misconceptions around mental health within the UK. Right now, the biggest killer in the UK is men under the age of 45 killing themselves. That's something around 7,000 men killing themselves every year. When I was at university, I studied mental health within men and media perceptions around them, and there's a great organisation called CALM, Campaign Against Living Miserably, and they did a study in which they found what the difference is between men's expectations of what partners want in them, what they think they want in them, and what actually they want in them. And one of the things that they thought they wanted in them was confidence, and which can be linked with your body and body confidence and everything, when actually the top thing was honesty. And so in line with trying to be honest, I'm going to tell you about my experience of having body dysmorphia, muscle dysmorphia, how I got it, where it came from, how I got over it, and how it affected my life. So as I said, it was around 15, 16 years old that I had body dysmorphia. It was only until this year that I realised that I actually had it. A mentor of mine asked me to write start writing blog posts about my experiences to get my voice out there. And one of the things I'm passionate about is fitness. I've been doing calisthenics and started doing a little bit of gymnastics on my own in the last year, but I've been training, doing like the bodybuilding stuff, the barbell stuff for like 3 years, probably, like focused, solid. But before that, I was pretty scrawny. I was a scrawny kid. Very thin, and I got picked on at school. Or I say picked on, I got bullied at school. Simply for me being me. I was picked on by people in my form, and I never really felt like I had a crowd or a group of friends. I always felt very anxious, like that if I was ever myself, or if I did anything that was remotely me, express myself, I would get slapped down for it. Not physically, but it was that anxiety, that what if, that spiralling feeling, that was pretty pervasive and consistent throughout secondary school. And it was only till I got to college that I really kind of left that behind. And around that time, going from year 11 to sixth form college, I started weightlifting. Now, the reason behind it, the motivation, was really, really fickle and shallow in hindsight. My logic at the time was that if I got big, if I got jacked, then I would have confidence. Girls would like me more and I wouldn't get picked on. I would be respected, finally. But that wasn't the case, or it was the case. So when I first started weight training, I'd left secondary school and I'd gone to college, and I found a group of friends. I'd finally found a group of people that I liked being with, that I didn't feel weird being around, that I didn't feel awkward to express myself around. And anyway, so I'd carried on, and the reason I thought that I was fitting in was because of these newfound muscles that I had. As I progressed, I grew in confidence, and I had more friends than before. However, there was a turning point in which the weight training was no longer something that was healthy. It was now becoming unhealthy, because my daily life, my thoughts were being consumed by my image, my body, my muscles. I would constantly think about exercising. When I wasn't exercising, I remember going on holiday with a friend, and all I would talk about was whether I was getting fat. I'd talked myself into this idea that I had a six-pack, and I was getting fat somehow, that I was putting on weight when I wasn't. I was tiny. I was really thin. I was actually not eating enough calories. I was not growing, but in my head, I had talked myself into that. I'd also talked myself into the fact that eating chocolate, I would lose all my muscle. Like, where the hell did I get that idea from? It was so absurd when you think about it now. But there's, they say hindsight is perfect. So I'd gone through and I was real, like, knee deep within body dysmorphia. And the shame and the guilt comes from me putting my body dysmorphia onto my little brother, who at the time was very happily enjoying the fruits of life, the nice things, the treats in life, the sweets, the chocolate. And what I would do is I would shame him for that, because I would prevent myself or stop myself from having those treats, because I'd developed this strange, maligned logic that if I ate anything considered unhealthy, which is so dumb, but considered not correct, but considered unhealthy, that I would lose all my effort and I'd lose all my muscle. And in the end, the big turning point was when my mum sat me down and told me that my brother had been hiding sweets and chocolates from me. And I asked her, hoping that she would console me, I asked her, is this my fault? And she just very plainly and bluntly said, yeah, I think this is on you, Sam. And that really upset me. And I still do feel shame and a bit of guilt around that I'd put that onto my little brother for God knows how long, maybe a year and a half. But afterwards I apologised, I moved forward with it, and that was the moment in which the light bulb, the flick switched, and I went, you know what, this isn't right. And I started a reflective process of, how I got to this place and why I was there. So I apologised to my brother, and I was very candid and open that I was going through things. I didn't know it was body dysmorphia. I had no idea what that was. It was only till this year, as I say, that I found out. And I apologised to him, and things weren't, he still kind of hid things, and he still kind of like felt guilt and shame, but it's fine now, like we're totally A-okay with it. It's fine. But he's now hitting puberty, and there's going to be, we'll see how he goes, because he sees me working out and then he wants to work out. So going forward, I had apologised, and I started reflecting on why I got to where I was. And these are my conclusions. And this is the important part. Really not my story. That's a nice embellishment. It's a nice surrounding piece. But the real lessons are this. For anyone that feels like they look in the mirror and their body's not normal, or they look in the mirror and they hate what they see, or they're always thinking about what they should or shouldn't be eating, or what they should or should be doing exercise-wise. Right now, we are so connected in the world with social media and everything that we see body types of specific body types so often. If you are into YouTube fitness, if you are into consuming fitness content, then you will see certain body types a hell of a lot. The Gymshark people, the vascular, jacked guys, the girls with the huge asses and everything. And that combined with what I had, which was a real lack of understanding of nutrition, of physiology, how the body works, how you need to calorie surplus for growth. Those coupled together meant that I was a recipe for body dysmorphia, muscle dysmorphia. And I think there are others out there that are like that. Muscle dysmorphia specifically is something that is probably underdiagnosed. And I'm very skeptical about people diagnosing themselves. If I diagnosed myself using like bloody WebMD or something at the time, like 15, 16, I could have potentially knowing myself, having my self-awareness, the level of self-awareness that I do, I probably would have just made things worse, would have spiraled out of control I don't know. Or maybe it would have helped, I don't know. But I don't think you should diagnose yourself because it could create a problem, a bigger problem than it is. However, you should talk to people, and that's what I did. I talked to people. I talked to my mum. I talked to my dad. I spoke with my brother about these things. I spoke with my close friends, and I think no matter what you're going through, that is the way to get out of a rut, is to speak to the people that you care about, speak to the people that you feel you can trust, and you'll feel so much better for it. whether it's anxiety, depression, body dysmorphia, whatever it may be, a tough situation, drugs, whatever, speaking about is the first steps to recovering from it. Yeah, my recipe for disaster was my lack of knowledge about nutrition and training, actually. My lack of knowledge of nutrition, how the body works, and this idea about body types. And it actually wasn't social media that was getting me down, or like social media. I was a social media phobic. I hated it because I was so anxious about interacting with the people from school. I wanted to be further away from it. I wanted to be outside playing with my real mates back at home in the village where I live, not interacting with these bloody people that I felt shit around. No, so it wasn't the social media. Actually, what it was this logic that I'd developed, this logic of muscle and confidence. I'd got it into my head, and this is the key part, I got it into my head that having muscle equals confidence, therefore I got mates at college. But it was the opposite. In hindsight, the reality was I had friends who liked me and made me feel good about myself, therefore I had confidence. That was it. There was no muscle part. The muscle part was the accessory. That was the thing that confused the whole narrative, that confused me all along. And I think that there are other people out there, men and women, I think especially men though, because with muscle dysmorphia, unlike other body dysmorphia disorders like anorexia, which could be considered, that is unhealthy. Like, there's no way of looking around it. Being severely underweight is bad for you. It's bad for longevity. It's bad for your health. It's bad for you. But with something like going to the gym 5 times a week, doing bodybuilding or powerlifting or calisthenics or something, or hitting the treadmill, doing loads of cardio, that from the outsider would look healthy. However, it's when you get into the internal part, it's the thought process that is motivating those actions. That's where it becomes unhealthy. And I think there needs to be a shift in how we talk about fitness. Fitness is an internal to external process, not an external to internal process. If you have poor mental health, if you have a poor understanding of nutrition and low self-esteem, and then you try and cover it up with working out, exercising, you're just conflating the problem. To outsiders maybe praising you, going, you look fantastic, you look great. And you may seem like you've got it all in check to them, but in reality you probably don't. It's much better to address the things that's going on inside and then take positive steps and healthy steps forward. Whether it be exercise, because it's already been proven that for men, not making this a gendered thing, but science, it's been proven that men should exercise because it helps their mental well-being. And it's the same with women as well. For some people, it's more exercise is their real thing that keeps them on the straight and narrow, and for others, it's other things like being with the mates or going for long walks or cuddling dogs and cats. I like that last one. But it's different for different people, and it's the main thing is that it's the internal to external part of it. If I had noticed, if I had understood and looked at the NHS website potentially, I know I'm contradicting myself by saying don't self-diagnose, but in hindsight and now knowing what I know, being bullied and then developing that logic of muscle, confidence, and confidence with girls, let's be honest. If I had noticed that, then I probably would have never been in the position of where I was ruining the close relationships that I had, where I was constantly asking close friends whether I looked, fit enough, whether I was still muscly than I was an hour ago, and whether, putting all that stress and strain and anxiety on my little brother. That would have never happened. And those are the worst parts, I think. Not just the damage I'd done to myself mentally and potentially physically, but the damage I'd done to my relationships, to the people that were close to me, the ones that I love. And I think that's the most insidious part about body dysmorphia, and especially muscle dysmorphia, because whilst when it starts, you look healthy, and that's what makes it so undiagnosable and so hard to identify for medical professionals, is that you look healthy on the outside, but when you start looking deeper, when you start looking at the nuance of it, that this person's hitting the gym 7 times a week or more, and that they only think about nutrition and they only think about the gym, and they skip weddings and skip social gatherings so they can go and train, then it becomes a problem, because fitness should not be an external to internal process. It's an internal to external process, and we need to change that narrative. Anyway, hopefully you found any of that helpful. If not, sorry, but I'll leave some links in the description of the video and at the bottom of the blog post that I wrote, which is also about this, which you can then look at NHS symptoms and things if you feel like you need that help. But if you feel like you don't and you're just interested in this idea, I don't know how you got here, because I've hardly done anything. Drop us a like, a thumbs up, whatever. If you didn't like it, a thumbs down, comment. I don't know. I don't even know if this is going on YouTube yet. But yeah. So anyway, my name's Sam, and thank you for watching.